And welcome back, everyone. It is time for Confidence Strategies 101. I'm Carmen Milagro. I am a CBD educator. I'm an entrepreneur artist, amongst other things. I'm also a confidence strategist, hence the title of the show. Typically, what I like to do on the show is to share with you ideas and resources, give you different perspectives from not just my viewpoints, but my guest viewpoints on, what are some of the latest topics that we're tackling. But it almost always, well, I try. Everything is about positivity. That's what I want to share with you. That's what I'm hoping to bring to the world every week, or mostly every week. I think sometimes we take a break. But the idea is that you have access to amazing new technologies or self-empowerment tools or just different ideas, right? I think this is how we grow and learn and thrive. And I'm trying to do that by bringing on different mentors and coaches and musicians and artists and designers who are all living their best life and are willing to come on and share their experiences and their insights and their perspectives to potentially, hopefully, inspire you to do the same. Tonight is no different. We're going to get to know someone who I actually have already worked with a little bit, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, but today we're going to really get to know who he is and what he does and why. Why does he do what he does? Those are some of the questions that I like to dig in and dive in with our guests. So as always, feel free to ask any questions. If we don't get to the questions during the live, we will certainly get to them on the thread, the comments and all that. Speaking of comments, we love it when you make comments, when you like, and when you share our webisodes. I know tonight is the debate. That's one thing that you will not hear on this webisode. You will not have to deal with anything negative. So we know that if you're watching the debate, that's okay. That's why we have the watch parties afterwards. So no problem. You can watch us on the replay. We're very excited. So without further ado, let me just tell you about who is going to be joining us in just a second when I press that button. But before, as always, I do need to thank our sponsors. Our sponsor is Music City Hit Factory, and I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on in that project at the end of this webisode. So without further ado, our guest tonight is a certified life and law of attraction coach, plus he's a certified FasterEFT practitioner. Now, you and I are both going to learn what that's all about in depth. His name is Mark Shihadeh, and I hope that I pronounced this right, because he said he'd walk off the show if I didn't, so we'll ask him when he comes on. But Mark has studied the art of self-empowerment and the law of attraction for over 35 years. So that's a lot of experience under that belt, and we're going to tap into some of his insights tonight. He's helped clients with everything from finding the love of their lives, healing chronic physical pain, breaking out of debilitating shyness and social anxiety, getting rid of a lifetime of annoying allergies, healing and making peace with past family traumas, as well as going from habits of self-criticism, which we all do at some point, right? We all have those, but he helps people go from those habits to empowering habits of loving self-talk and confident thoughts. So naturally, he's the perfect guest to have on Confidence Strategies. Everyone I'd like to bring on now, Mark Shihadeh. Did I pronounce your last name right?
I almost walked off.
Did I mess it up? I'm sorry.
No, very good. But here's the thing. I thought we were going to debate. We're not going to debate today?
No debates.
Okay, I'm going to stay, Carmen. We'll see how it goes.
All right.
Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you for, spending your time. I know that I'm taking you away from the TV debate that's happening right now.
You know what, Carmen? I'm really happy to be here with you. and I was looking forward to this for a while now. So,
Good. Me
and
too.
I don't know about that. Maybe I should. Maybe it's good just to watch the highlights, right? I mean,
Sometimes, yeah, I think so. And I'm sure we will get plenty of that.
that's right. Yeah.
So, Mark, if you don't mind, I would love to just sort of get to know you first before we kind of dive into some of the questions that I have for you a little bit more. Again, I've worked with you, sort of on the outskirts of Live Thrive media with Rosalida Dubon. That's how we met, of course, and she's pretty incredible, and I know she has wonderful taste in her colleagues. So I'm happy to get to know you on that realm.
Shout out to Rosalía.
That's right. So can you share with us, like, where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? Whatever, whatever you want to, whatever you deem that you want to share with us.
Well, I'm born and raised San Francisco.
Hey, that's not too many of us.
Right, you too?
Me too.
Wow. What area did you grow up in?
Well, I was born in the Mission.
Okay.
And then we actually moved from my last place. Well, when I was born, I was on 24th in Alabama. And then we moved around to, Folsom. We lived on a bunch of other streets that I'm totally drawing a blank on right now. And then my parents bought a house when I was 4 in South City. So I lived there for 35 years.
Oh, wow. I live very close. I live in San Bruno now.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So,
yeah, I'm very familiar.
That's right. I lived in San Carlos for a while, and I also lived in Belmont, my wife and I. So, so a little bit about me. So, when I was younger, I worried a lot. And even, boy, I mean, it's kind of been my thing to worry in the past. Like I worry, my family worried a lot. And so when I was really young, I wanted to learn how to not worry and how to kind of take control of these thoughts in my head. Right. So I would just start reading books, Anthony Robbins and Deepak Chopra. And, I would study these books, self-help books on how to be positive and how to be more confident and how to manage those thoughts in our minds,
Right.
That's kind of been my thing, something that I've been studying for so long. And then I discovered Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction from my aunt. Sent me a tape. Boy, I think like in the 84, 85, way back in the day. And I thought the information was amazing. So I just wanted to master the Law of Attraction. And I would try things. I would try to, manifest things, and things didn't work. And so I wanted to really know the nuance of how to make it work. Right. And that's what I've done. So I received their biweekly or bi-monthly tape for over 30 years. And I would listen to every answer that they would give and listen to every question. And it's just been my life study to really learn the Law of Attraction.
I mean, again, for me, when I read this, and you've been studying this for 35 years, back in that time frame,
right?
It seems to me that it wasn't so prevalent.
It wasn't.
The words of like self-empowerment and and self-love and the habits that we all had. We, at least culturally, for me, certainly in my culture, you didn't talk about those things, much less study them and try to figure them out. So I kind of felt like when I was going through, your bio and reading and learning about you before you coming on the show, I thought you're like a trailblazer because that's a lot of knowledge under your belt.
Yeah, I loved it, and my mom was into it as well. My mom was a social worker, and she had the Anthony Robbins tapes. And so that's how, so I don't know. I mean, my mom had the environment that I grew up in. And again, I just wanted to I've always been somebody who wanted to be empowered and have self-empowerment and how to figure out how to do it,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But to have that at a young age, I think is also pretty incredible, because we don't always, when we're young like that, we don't always have that wherewithal or the curiosity, maybe is a better word too, is you don't always think about, well, I'm in this angst, I'm in this moment. How do I,
Yeah.
figure this out for myself? I think a lot of times we're taught that the answers are outside of ourselves,
Right.
which they may be, but I personally have found in my own experience that most of the answers, and I'm not saying that I don't get help or that I don't ask for help, but most of the answers are already within us and we already know. It's just tapping into it.
Yeah, I so agree with you. And, even I think I was born with some of this because I remember, going to church, and I remember I would I would buy into the stuff that made sense to me, that resonated with me. And if it didn't, I'm not into it. Like, so I'm not, I didn't follow like dogmatic kinds of, and even with studying the law of attraction and even now faster EFT, learning that I don't, I scrutinize things, and, and if it resonates with me, then I'm with it.
Right.
So,
I hear you. I
right.
do. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a really important quality to have within ourselves,
Yeah.
that ability to analyze or just have that discernment, because then I feel like we're employing all that we were given, our pragmatic approach, our brains, our heart, our soul, like it's all one thing in my mind, that all of this is designed to extrapolate the things that really work for us. And what works for me may not work for, Jane Smith, and may not work for John Q. Public, but that's, for me, that's part of the thing that we have to figure it out for ourselves. And so I love what you said there, because yeah, I'm not a very good follower just for the
Yeah.
sake of following.
Right. Yeah.
It's easier sometimes, I think, when people
Yeah.
are followers and they don't have to be accountable, and it's much easier to blame.
Right.
But I'm not a very good follower.
I like how you're thinking, Carmen. We are so much on the same page here.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'm going to start sort of going down the path of just, getting to know you, of course, but also kind of tying things together with what we're trying to do on the show.
Mm-hmm.
While you were growing up and you were discovering, you were studying all this, was that the most important source of your, I suspect that while you were doing all of this and, diving into, because you didn't want to be worrisome, you didn't want to spend your life worrying. At one point, there's someone or something that also is nurturing your self-confidence on this journey that you embarked on 35 years ago?
Let's see. So, my parents were pretty hands off,
Mm-hmm.
and so my dad, he was busy working. It was like the typical, I make, I'm in charge of making the money, and the mother nurtures and spends time with the kids. And my mom was very encouraging, but I kind of felt like when I think about my childhood, I think about just going at it alone, a lot of it, and just kind of discovering. And for me, that was great because freedom was a huge thing for me, like freedom. And I like to be able to discover things on my own. It would have been nice to get some guidance, more guidance from pops or whatever, but that's fine. So yeah, as far as like having somebody like maybe a model or a mentor, I don't think can't think of anyone right now. Maybe famous people like I could read about Gandhi and different,
Right. Sure.
yeah, different people, famous people, and like who I read, like Anthony Robbins, who I'd read his books, and he influenced me, and Deepak Chopra, but yeah, I can't think of. I, I'm sure there have been people. Once in a while, there will be a teacher who made a good impact on me. It was really nice, and saw something inside of me that saw something in me and that just feels so good, right? If somebody sees
Of
something,
course.
yeah,
Of course. Well, and I think that, there's a lot of, sometimes there is just yourself, and that is what makes you you.
Right.
And it's not, and again, it's not trying to blame anyone or being resentful. It just sometimes, at least for me, I'm very independent. I've always been very independent and free thinking, and I've always liked my freedom. I've always been that when I was a kid, you could trust me because I wanted that freedom that came with, okay, if I'm told I have to be back by 11, I was going to be back by 10:55 because I wanted to continue to go out.
Wow. Okay.
I wanted
you didn't
that
want to get grounded.
Right? Like for me, it just all made sense. Like if they're already trusting me, they should trust me so that I can continue to do what I want to do. So that's kind of how I feel. Like sometimes it is us. Like it's okay to say we were the ones that were our own nurturing little pool of information.
That's right. And, I mean, because of that, if you learn how to do it for yourself, you can get stronger that way. You get strong that way.
Right. But it doesn't work for everyone.
No. And we all need help, and we all need mentors and guidance and things like that.
Just want to give a shout out to Dr. Katerina Rosakis. Thank you for watching and joining us.
Hey, Katerina.
One of the things that I was really curious, Mark, when I knew that you were going to be on the show is you mentioned that you used to worry a lot, but were you, aside from that, let's just take that out of the equation, were you a confident young person? Were you like pretty sure of yourself? And can you recall a moment where you felt like, yeah, I got this? Like there's certain moments I think that we all might have in our lives where maybe you were expecting the worst or you didn't know what to expect. And then you realize, well, wait a minute, shoot, I just did this, especially when you're on your own a lot,
Right. Yeah. It's a little bit, I was mostly confident, and I had a lot of friends, and I had a sense of humor, and I like to have fun. But what I would do, but I had that other part of me where, I'd go to a party and then I'd go home and then I would think and ruminate in my mind, like, did I say the right thing? Maybe I shouldn't have said this. What did I? And I would kind of analyze and overthink in my mind.
Sure.
So I was confident, but then I would question things, and I was self-conscious. So
okay.
it's almost both, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I guess, some things I was confident in, but like as far as public speaking, not confident.
Really? I never would have thought that.
Well, I've gotten better and I've worked at it. I've gotten better, and thank you, FasterEFT and Robert Smith, and also the Chamber of Commerce, San Mateo Chamber of Commerce and Burlingame Chamber of Commerce. I learned, you have these skills, you learn, but I worked at it, and I'm still like an introvert, and I'm not someone who loves to be on stage and wants a lot of attention. I was someone, I used to hide behind the camera, and I used to have businesses where I didn't want to be seen, and I was a music producer for a while, not the artist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was the guy with doing the music and let the artist go out. Right. But the more I worked on myself, and the more confident someone gets, I think the more of an extrovert you can become.
Right.
And so
when needed.
Just recently, I'm starting to enjoy talking in public.
Right.
And I had no nerves, and I haven't been having any nerves, and I used to.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's always nice, right? When we can sort of see our own evolution as we're also working with other people and teaching other people. And it's just like, if you're not growing, you're not, I mean, what are you doing?
You're not growing, you're dying. But
yeah, exactly.
I love that quote, but yeah.
What's the difference from your perspective? Because I've had other life coaches and they do different things, and we'll dive into because I'm really, really curious about the FasterEFT. But before we get into that, what's the difference between a life coach and a law of attraction coach in your own
Okay.
world, in your own perspective?
So life coach is so many, it runs a gamut. Life coach can be like general thing, and then you have specialties, right? You can be a relationship coach, you can be a small business coach, um, work with people with finances, and you can be a weight loss coach. And so that's life coach is just kind of a general thing. And I got a certification, just a general certification in life coaching. But and then so on top of that, law of attraction obviously specializes in law of attraction.
Right.
And so what I do in my coaching is I combine, it's mostly just faster EFT tapping, because faster EFT tapping has at the base of it law of attraction.
Okay.
So my thing is combining. So I think faster EFT tapping is the best tool to allow the law of attraction to work in our lives.
Okay.
So
And
that's my
law of
specialty.
attraction is like manifestation. Is there like
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like interchangeable or?
Well, law of attraction, my definition is we get what we think about, expect, and believe.
Okay. See,
Okay.
that's kind of the same as mine.
Right. But then there's a whole like the way I call it leading edge law of attraction principles. There's a whole way of living it. So when I say law of attraction, just it encompasses a lot of ideas. Here's a big idea I'll just throw out there right now.
Okay.
And this idea that when we want something, the idea of more of surrender and letting go and allowing instead of trying to make something happen.
Right.
And that's how you can really allow the law of attraction to work in your lives.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean you sit around and meditate all day, or you don't do anything, but you work from inspiration instead of motivation. Instead of the shoulds, I should do this, and that's kind of just being centered in your, connected with your inner self or the universe. And so it reminds me of what you were talking about before. Just about being driven from I can't remember exactly what you said, but I was relating to it. But like can you relate to that as far as working from inspiration instead of motivation? And yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think it was the conversation you and I have had before jumping on the show is just,
Okay.
It's not that I don't believe that we all should make money. I
Right.
do believe that. However, there are some things that I am inspired to do. And I can only speak for myself.
Yes.
I'm inspired. I'm driven. I am sometimes obsessed with certain things that make absolutely no sense to anyone else. But it's because I feel this desire and I have the notion and I just have this feeling. I don't know how else to describe it, that I'm supposed to do this. I'm
Right.
supposed to help someone in this way. I'm supposed to start this project. And then sometimes I don't go on. I just, it's just a finite thing. And then it turns into this much bigger thing that it's not what I imagined initially.
Right.
And what you and I were talking about is that it doesn't mean that I don't take opportunities to monetize or to make it something that is profitable, but that's not how it started. It's
Right.
a reason
Right.
it started. So I think that's kind of what, at least what you're saying and what you're describing, that's how I'm taking it in.
I love it. Yeah. And for people out there, some people say, I don't know what my purpose is, or, I don't know what to do on a daily basis. And what you and I are talking about, at least for me, it's a skill. Like there's an art to living this way. And I've had to work at it. I've had to work at because I've been an entrepreneur for so many years.
Right.
And I used to grind and bring in money, try to bring in money and work hard. And, we all are taught to work hard and make things happen.
Right.
And this law of attraction approach, leading edge approach, is counter to that. It's doing the opposite, and it feels counterintuitive. But this is the nuance. This is some of the key ways to really attract the kind of life that we want. So,
I think this is why you're on the show, of course, but it makes so much sense to me. It resonates so strongly. Like I can really feel that we're so closely aligned, because I look at everything through my lens, which is an artist. And artists create because it's like breathing, for me. And I can't speak for anyone else. It's like breathing. There's things that I'm going to do. There's things that I'm going to look at from that perspective that is very different from the entrepreneurial hat that I wear, from the teaching hat that I wear, from the mentoring hat. Like, it's so different, but that's the core. And that's kind of the why that you and I were talking about earlier as well, is the why of the why of the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you doing it now? Why are you doing it for the future? Why are you doing it from your past experience? For me, that is how I've been able to figure out who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And I never waver from that. It doesn't mean that I don't change direction. It doesn't mean that I don't do different things.
Yeah.
But I'm always that same person from which I do everything. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, I like that. And, and that reminded me to another concept that I, have learned for myself and I help my clients with, is this idea, because some people don't know their why, right? And some people don't know, some people haven't made that inspiration connection. So a lot of people are living from shoulds, and I need to put money on the table and need to pay the mortgage or the rent or whatnot, right? Of course. So, but here's another concept is where you are right now is perfect. So 100% self-acceptance.
Right.
Even if you don't feel that way. Now, if you don't feel that way, that's the work, right?
Right.
If you don't feel that way, the work isn't to try to get to a place where you want to go to. The work is to allow yourself to love yourself where you are and appreciate yourself exactly where you are.
Oh, I love that so much.
Right. And that's a skill too. I mean, that can take work. And it's taken me a lot of work to do to live some of these concepts that I'm talking about.
Of course. Yeah. But that's where your authenticity comes from. That's where I think people resonate with you and connect to you, because you are coming from that genuine, authentic place. I think one of the things that we also might have mentioned beforehand, but I wanted to come back to it, is it's not just about the why, at least in my opinion, but it's about the who. You've got to know who you are here, back then, and who you're going to be. But how do you do that if you don't do the work?
Right.
How do you determine who you are? At least for me, how you determine what you're doing is based on the why and who. Are you why? All of that. That's what I try to dig deep with, my clients, with people who ask me to mentor them, with I like to work with young people. That's where I go with them.
Yeah.
They're already questioning these things anyway.
Right.
So now if we can just have those discussions with them, I feel like it really helps.
And some, like talking about young people, sometimes you're figuring that out. Like when you're in your, let's say, early 20s, you don't know who you are and you don't know your why yet. So your job, and this is, I tell the young people that I'm working with, is to try shit out, right?
Exactly.
Try stuff and have fun with it. And it's okay if you don't know, right? It's okay that you don't know, but work towards that and just try stuff and know that I'm going to try this job. If it doesn't work out, I know I don't like this job, right? I'm going to try this, whatever.
Right. So, it's our R&D, it's our research and development phase, but it also applies to people our age.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
It really does. Like, I feel like it's a great place when you go through these exercises when you're young, because then hopefully you're armored and tooled up for when you get to be, 56. But there are people, I know a lot of people my age and older, who they don't know that they don't know who they are.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's you just you hope that they're doing the work, but you also see just constant repetitive, sort of
Patterns and
patterns.
yeah.
And, if they ask for your help, that's usually when you should come forth. But a lot of times people don't ask for help because they think they know everything. And so you just kind of at least I just sit back then when I get that.
Yeah.
When someone says, I don't need a coach, when someone says, I don't need mentoring, there is nothing that I can do, or I should try to do at that point.
The only thing we can do is 100% accept them where they are.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
that's our work, is to
Yeah.
and that's also something I've had to work on, because you learn these things. You want to help everyone. If you just did this, and if you just, and it's like, all right, Mark, let go of that. People not everyone's you, and people have their own journeys, and they're in different,
Exactly.
So 100% self-acceptance for where people are
Right. And for
is,
yourself.
and you're definitely yourself. Yeah.
All right. So now let's dive into, this is the area where I'm most curious about right now, is what is Faster EFT?
Ooh, but I gotta go. Maybe next time. No.
And how long do we have?
I'm here.
I'm gonna give you the solo here. I'm gonna give you the whole. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
FasterEFT. So FasterEFT. So it is a healing modality. It is a tool. It's a self-empowerment tool. And it's based off of the idea that our current problems are a result of our past experiences and memories, right? So the patterns that we have in our life, maybe the ones that aren't working for us, we find that we keep doing the same thing. Maybe we keep eating the same foods and we can't consciously stop it, or we keep attracting the same kind of, relationships, or we just do we're in these habits that we don't like, and maybe they're not good for us, but we can't get out of it consciously. So the FasterEFT idea is, the way you get out of it is you find the source, you find the memories that contribute to your current problems. So, for example, let's say that a client comes to me and they says, Mark, I keep attracting the wrong kinds of dudes. Like, they're just assholes. I keep attracting assholes. Help me. I want to get married or whatnot, or I want to be in love. So what I do is I don't think about their current problem now yet. We don't start there. What we do is we start to find out about their past, because in our past experiences, what happens, we record everything in our brain, and then we act accordingly. So for example, let's say this person was 12 years old, and let's make her older. Let's say she's 16 years old and her boyfriend cheated on her, and she felt humiliated and hurt and heartbroken. So what that happens is, in your brain, is you start to link boys with heartache, humiliation, and pain. And then what that does is, you might have a boyfriend, the next boyfriend, you're going to be a little weary, and it's going to be an automatic thing. Now you are automatically weary, and you might even sabotage a relationship, because here's what happens. When you have, like, let's say, a traumatic experience like that, a coping mechanism kicks in and wants to protect you from that happening ever again. So subconsciously, you might sabotage getting into a relationship because you don't want to get hurt again. And you might be attracting the same kinds of dudes who do that to you, who aren't going to be loyal to you and might cheat on you. So what I will do is, we'll find the memories that contribute. So we will go to that memory when she was 16 years old. And also, let's say another example, she watched her dad mistreat her mom. So that is recorded in her brain. This is how men treat women. And if she just grew up that way, that's what she knows. And so what happens is we create belief systems based off of what happens to us. And we create worldviews, and we create a value system within us based off the things that have happened to us in the past. So let's say her belief system is men can't be trusted. Men are going to cheat. You can't trust men. Men are going to cheat and lie. And subconscious belief systems like men aren't going to treat women correctly. So we will go to these memories, and I will go to the memories where she watched her father mistreat her mom. And I will go to that memory where the first time that her boyfriend cheated on her. And what we'll do is we'll go and make peace with that. And then, and I'll go into the specifics of how it works, but then we will make peace with it. And then once we make peace with it, we will rewrite it. We will rewrite the memory. Now, we're not rewriting what actually happened, but we're rewriting how we're holding that inside of us. And we're rewriting how she's holding that inside of her, which means what she saw, what she heard, what she experienced, and what she felt, and what she believed about it. Once you start to make peace with that and rewrite that, because you are attracting from that experience. If you've never changed it, you still have this trauma, and your brain will use that over and over again on you. That's how patterns are created. So here's how it works. So, and also you can do this for yourself. So FasterEFT tapping was created by Robert Smith, and Robert Smith combined different modalities and created his own FasterEFT modality. So FasterEFT is a part of a modality called EFT, which is EFT tapping, and I'll explain what that is. And NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, that is the study of how we hold on to images and things that we hear and feelings inside of us, and what to do about that. NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And he studied hypnosis, because anytime you go into the past and you remember something, you go into a trance. And when you go into that trance, your body reacts and you behave from that trance. So we're in trances all the time, and we are just reacting from these trances. We're not empowered. We're not in control. We're reacting from our programs. So he studied trance work, and he studied the brain of how it all works. Put this amazing system together, and this is what we would do. So let's say my client, I would have her go back and remember that time when her boyfriend broke up with her, and remember the heartache, and really feel it and feel the pain for the last time. Like remember how it was when you were crying and you were humiliated and you were alone, and week after week turns into month after month, and you just felt really bad. And she would go into the trance of that and really feel it. And then what we would do, if I was with her, if I had her permission, I would tap on her. And I would tap on her, and I would have her repeat things. So just for an example, I would tap between the eyebrows and say, let it go. And then side of the eye, let it go. Under the eye, it's safe to let it go. And the collarbone, half an inch on your collarbone, each side is fine. I'm letting it all go. And then I would grab her wrist, take a deep breath, blow it out, and say peace. So what this tapping is doing, it is actually acupressure, which is acupuncture without the needles. But what it's really doing, it's breaking the trance. So if she's feeling really bad, and she's in that heartbreak, and then I start tapping on her and I say, let it go. She goes from the trance and into her memory, into the current time right now, into her body, and she's saying, let it go. What that does, now here's the other concept. The idea that, am I taking long here?
No, not at all. I'm fascinated, because there's so much that's going on through my brain right now.
Yeah.
And forgive me, because I always tend to want to like drill it down.
Yeah.
I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like you're not only reprogramming, but it seems to me that it's also this ability to kind of take control of what was controlling you before.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah, I'm coming around. Yeah.
Okay.
The idea that there's an idea that neuroscientists know that neurons that are fired together are wired together. So the boys and heartbreak, the feeling and the heartbreak, those are hardwired in your brain when you have that trauma or those experiences.
Sure.
Now, when we tap, and it doesn't have to be tapping, it can be, I can have her go to a happy memory. You break that trance, and then you add, when you tap, you're relaxing your body. You add that relaxation into that memory, and then it's update. Your memory's updated. Another thing that neuroscientists understand is that memories, every time you visit a memory, it's updated. So if you visit a memory and you get really upset and angry, you add that anger to that memory and it becomes bigger, and it becomes, and you have more emotion now, more, and that's how a negative spiral can happen. So then you think of something and it's just, you can have a panic attack.
So you're layering.
So you're layering, yeah, because your neurons are hardwired. So what we do is the opposite. We undo the hard wiring. We goes into the trauma of it, and then we tap, or we make a joke, or we go to a happy memory,
Right.
and that joke and that humor or the tapping relaxation is updated into the memory, and it's a little bit less. Okay, so I'm almost done explaining the whole thing. Then I will say different things, not only let it go, but different things like he did the best he could, you're okay now, things like that. Now, what we do is we measure it and we say 0 to 10, how much is it bothering you? She'll say it's a 10. And then when we tap, we'll do different rounds and we get it to where it's a 0, to where she goes, well, I know it happened and I remember it, but I'm not angry anymore. I can't let it bother me. So then this is going to what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's neutral. We will say, well, now rewrite it to what you would have liked to happen, because it's not real anyway. We're making it up. The only thing that's real is right now, you and I, Carmen, right now, this moment is real. When I go into my memories, it's perception anyway. It's how I record it and how everyone records things differently. So when I tap it down to a 0, we make space to be able to rewrite something that you would have liked to happen. So instead of he cheated and he broke up, they both decided to part ways and be amicable and peaceful. So, and then you practice that new memory. So now she created a healthy relationship in her mind. Sure. Instead of one where the guy cheated on her.
Right.
And she's practicing this healthy relationship. Now she's going to, because of the law of attraction, she's going to attract more healthy relationships. So that's the long way of talking about how this FasterEFT works. And you can tap on yourself and do it yourself.
Got it. I thank you for this explanation. I've never had such an in-depth explanation before.
Yeah.
And what you were also saying about, it seems like you're besides the rewiring, is there, I mean, I think we've all been hurt. I think every one of us on the planet can relate to some sort of personal heartache for whatever reason. What I found, I didn't do the tapping. I found other ways to get to this place, that 0 neutral place. Mm-hmm. And the way that I figured it out for me in a very specific situation was, well, actually a couple of times, and this was my question, is does forgiveness play a part in what you're doing?
100%.
For both, for 100%. Yourself and for the, other
100%. And that's some of the things that we say, like it's safe for me to forgive him now. And when you're forgiving someone, you're doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely forgive. It's actually making peace means everything. Forgiveness, letting go of the anger, letting go of resentment, letting go of regret, just letting it all go.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. This is, oh, I got the chills. Okay, so this is really, really informative. And I think that people who are going to watch this down on the replays and the watch parties, I think this will really resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah,
But
hopefully.
I also wanted to do, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know it's evening time, it's family time. So please thank your wife for for uh, just allowing this intrusion in your life. But I also wanted to do what I'm doing at the end of each segment is kind of just going through this quick round of questions. So we're completely like switching gears. This is just, I've noticed you've got a great sense of humor. Some of your posts that you have on Facebook are hilarious.
Thanks.
And I don't always share the same, or people don't always share the same type of sense of humor as I do. So I found it very relatable and really fun to just kind of see some of your posts.
Good. Thank you.
So this is what I'm calling like, this is no thinking about it, no analyzing. This is just what comes, it's kind of, what's that show that the actors do?
Well, this is called free association. Like you just really.
Yeah, just whatever it is. But if it's something that you don't want to answer and it's not comfortable or I've crossed the line, then you just say pass.
Okay.
I don't want, again, there's no debating on this show.
Oh, this like Watch What Happens Live, like with Andy Cohen.
Okay. I love Andy Cohen. I don't get to see him much, but okay. So, what's your favorite food?
Steak. But I don't eat it a lot, but I love steak and potatoes.
Okay, there you go. Steak and potatoes, man. See, something I would have never known.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to have lunch or dinner with a real life hero, who would that be and why?
Oh, okay. First thing that came up was Obama.
Okay.
He's just inspiring. He's cool. He's fun. He's smart. And, or Jay-Z too. Just
okay, then. I love that.
This is just free association.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Share with us 3 words that other people use to describe you that you're aware of.
Lord. Silly, funny, asshole. No.
I don't buy that for a minute. Not that last one.
I have my moments.
Well, at least you admit it. Silly, funny.
To describe me?
Yeah. Other people.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay. 2's good.
Pass for the 3rd one.
All right. How about what's your personal definition of success and have you achieved it?
Oh, yes. Success to me is, this confidence that we're talking about, but confidence in the idea that where I am now is fine. So how to make yourself happy in the present moment. That's success, happiness, success, fulfillment. Mm-hmm. And then the money comes with that, the other thing comes with that, and the lifestyle you want. And if you want a nice house and a nice car or whatnot, as long, like you're saying, as long as that's secondary, it's not the primary. So success is fulfillment and happiness and, to sound corny, self-love, self-acceptance.
Right.
That's
I love that. I mean, I know I'm very pragmatic and I'm very practical. I know that there are a lot of people that will slam me for saying, money's not the priority, but I'm only speaking from my perspective. Yeah. I can only speak from what I feel and what I believe.
Right.
I'm not here to judge anyone else. If their number one priority is making, the almighty dollar and they're not hurting anyone, then more power to them.
Well, it's funny.
Wrong with it.
The secret is if it's not about money first, the money will come, and you probably will make more money than and enjoy it more than if you make it your number one priority, because then you might gain it and then lose it, and it's or you gain it and then you realize that didn't make me happy.
Right. Well, and that's for me, we were talking about happiness, we were talking about forgiveness. And for me, my number one definition is I love living a peaceful life.
Oh, I like that.
I go to bed, I go right to sleep. There is nothing right now. I've had other moments, when I was caring for my mother that I couldn't sleep and I was filled with anxiety and tears and all of that. But I'm speaking about right now, and what I strive for. For me, success is living a peaceful life.
I love that.
Bed with just, I'm done with the day. My head hits the pillow. And I'm out.
Can I change my answer? Can I steal yours? I like that. I love that.
I thank you. I appreciate that. But that's for me, that, that's helping other people is a priority for me. If I can, if they'll allow me, if they want me to. I had to learn that too. Like what you said earlier, I really wanted to help everybody that I care about all the time.
Right.
And sometimes you get kicked in the teeth for doing that. Sometimes you're not appreciated. You get your feelings hurt, blah, blah, blah. I've gone through all of that.
Right. Yeah.
I had to learn, sometimes you just got to watch them live their life, and you might have been able to help them, but maybe it's just not your job.
If they don't want it, and they are where they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if they're grown ass people, we're all responsible for our decisions and our choices. When it's a young person, that's a little bit different. I think that is our responsibility as the adults in their life to try to help them as much as possible, help arm them with the tools and the options, like what we're doing here, having this discussion. I think is important, that there are very many different ways that are going to work for different people.
And sometimes parents can lay off their kids and allow them to live too, and allow them figure stuff out on their own too.
Exactly. Well, I've really enjoyed our time together. Thank you for spending your evening with me.
Carmen, this is awesome. Thank you for having me on. Can I be on tomorrow or next week?
Sure. Oh, wait, right. I don't do a show tomorrow. But, I've got all these ideas, and I've got all these other little projects. And now that I've gotten to know you better, I kind of thought that we would work together in some way or fashion besides the show, and besides, the little sort of, intermittent interactions that we've had. I just feel like we're so much in alignment. I love it. I love when that happens. So thank you.
I'm down. Thank you, Carmen. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you. And before you go off to join your family, where can people connect with you? How do they get a hold of you? What's your social media? And of course, if you don't mind going to the group, our Facebook page is Confidence Strategies. And if you put all your information or any upcoming events or any webinars that you're doing, that's a free-for-all for all of our, our viewers who are members, that they can have access to you.
Oh, yes, ma'am. The two best ways, I have my website, markshihadeh.com. But I have a podcast, and it's all about the law of attraction and FasterEFT. If you want to learn how to do it on your own, if you want to learn more about it, my podcast, and it's just the Tap It Out podcast with Mark Shihadeh. Okay. So if you go to any podcast and just any podcast service and just type in Tap It Out or the Tap It Out podcast with Mark Shihadeh. And then I have a Facebook group, and it's the same thing. It's called Tap It Out. So if you search Facebook groups for Tap It Out, you'll really learn whatever you want to. And it's a fun group. It's a fun. Okay. We have fun, and yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Kat. Looks like Dr. Kat stayed with us the whole show. So we appreciate that. And we appreciate your questions. And, again, Mark, you can put your information on our group page, Confidence Strategies 101, and that's how people can get a hold of you. And we'll share and do watch parties. I'm still not the greatest at all that, but I'm learning.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time, and hope you'll come back.
Carmen, thank you so much. You are awesome. I'm so happy to get to know you even more. And we are definitely on the same page.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much. Have a great night, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for, staying with us week after week. I'm again trying to bring you some really wonderful, kind, compassionate, genuine guests, and that we can all learn from them. I hope you continue to join us week after week. As always, I have to say thank you to our sponsor, Music City Hit Factory. It's another project that I'm working on, and we're going to be launching an online community, education, music, and so much more. San Francisco will never be the same after we launch. So I'll keep you posted on all that. Tune in next time. I'll see you. And in the meantime, I just wish that we all are healthy and safe, and that we continue to evolve and explore and thrive together. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time on Confidence Strategies 101. Bye-bye, everybody.